Good morning, everybody. It is a new day back in the shop once again. Haven't been filming as much as I should. I'm still getting kind of used to all of this YouTube vlogging, filming stuff. So I tend to get on a roll and just don't want to pick up the camera, and I apologize for that. But let me show you what I did. So we've seen the front of the car, and that's probably what I'm going to be working on mostly today. What I have done is the cage work. So, we got a cage. Yeah. So basically this is the outline of the cage, which is the main structural support part. And once again, going back to, I've done this before because I built the prototype, my car. This is the second car that I knew I'd be building. So I made some changes, yes, like this bar here. My bar goes a little lower, kind of right by the lip, and set the driver of this car in my car, and he mentioned a little bit that possibly your head could touch that bar a little bit with it being a little lower. So he asked for a little bit more headroom. I said, that's fine. I said, we'll figure that out. And I like the way this came out. Took a little bit of doing, a little bit of thinking, but now, as you can see, instead of the bar going to there and making that slope down across and meeting up with that, now I got it to where it went all the way up to the top of the roof. My hand's not really lining up with the camera, I'm sorry, but I can't do it backwards. So it goes all the way up to the roof, comes over, and then bends down, and now those two bars connect together in the same spot all the way down to the strut tower. So I like the way it came out. Yeah, I think it came out really good. So sorry I didn't film any of that. I should have just put like a time lapse on it or something like that, but it's really hard to see like inside of the car, and this was a very slow process that took about 3 days, just because there was a lot of thinking and thought process involved with trying to refigure that out, because everything else on this car, since my car was the prototype and I figured it out, it's pretty much just been, I have all the drawings and everything all written down. It's just been copying it. So this was changing things. So took a little bit. I didn't pick up the camera, so I apologize for that. But what I will do is from here on out, I'll start to show you how the rest of this comes together, because this is just the main structural part, and it's just tacked in place right now. So the next thing to do with the cage would be to remove the boxes. Those are just the magnets that help hold things in place, but you see in here. So the next thing to do would be to remove this box, and it's just got 2 tack welds on it, and then a tack weld up here. So we cut those tack welds off, remove this out, and this actually allows the cage to drop down, so the whole cage can actually drop down about 8 inches or so, and then I can get on top and I can weld all of the top of the cage, which are the parts I can't get to because of the roof, because they're touching, and then weld all of that, and then raise the cage back up, reinstall the box, and she's home. She's where she's going to be for the rest of its life, and then I can get underneath and weld all the underneath side, because I can get to it. So that's what's going to happen inside here, and then after that we can put in all the door bars and all of the anti-intrusion bars, and then the support bars, and then the seat belt bars, and the rest of the supports. I did manage to, it's kind of late last night, and I was like, you know what, I really want to see what this will look like and get this in, because it took so long to do the other stuff. I didn't do a whole lot yesterday. It was just kind of pre-planning and stuff, so I was like, I got to get something done. Something has to be worth it. If you're wondering what that noise is, it's just the exhaust fan for the shop. So I don't normally have it on, but it's the morning and I'm trying to get everything to get out of here. But I got the radiator in. So the rear radiator went in, built the lower boxes in here. Again, this was very, very quick and easy. It only took me about an hour just because I had already done it on my car. And this is strictly just copying. I did make a little bit of a change though, and I centered the fans, which I didn't do on my car. My car actually centered the radiator, and the fans ended up being a little off for the hole. Again, prototype, not the end of the world. You're not going to tell function-wise, there's no difference. It's just kind of a look thing. And with this car, being that I already did a prototype, I can tweak all the little things on this car that I'd really like to make 100%, because this is going to be basically like the show drift car. The other one's a bash car, fun car, still looks really good, but this is going to be like the show quality car. This is going to be my business card, basically. If you want one of these built, this is what I can do. So you can see here that the gap here is a little wider than the gap over here. But that is because your radiator flange here is wider, so it makes it closer, as opposed to this side, it's a lot narrower, so it's further away. But the radiator itself, the core of the radiator and the fans is actually perfectly centered with the car, so that way when you look through the back of the bumper cutout and everything like that, you'll see the fans perfectly centered in the hole. So, I love the way that came out. Got the bar bent and installed across the top. It's not mounted on the top yet, it's just sitting there, but that's looking really, really good. And then of course, the hatch closes down. Look at that fitment. Look at that fitment. Man, that came out really good. So it's time to get the day started, and I want to concentrate on the front of the car today, just because I think that'll be the most bang for the buck per se. Like that will show the most transition of the car, I guess you would say. The cage and stuff like that, pulling it down, welding it, putting it back up, not really any change. It's going to look exactly the same, but take a lot of time. So, and my whole thing with this car is I'm doing all of the fab work first and just tacking everything in place, making sure everything 100% fits, making sure I like everything, and then literally I'll come back and attack the whole car and just spend days welding. So right now it's fabricating, moving along pretty quickly. I want to get some of this stuff out of the shop, off the floor and in the car, and get it all fitted and all the fabrication work done. So I think I'm going to move on. I think I'm going to move on for the cage right now, because I've been crawling around in that cage for 2 weeks. My back's killing me. My knees are killing me. Even though, little pro tip secret for car builders is volleyball knee pads. I'm telling you, a must. They fit, they don't slide down, they don't do anything, and when you're crawling around on your knees in the shop, or even inside of the car on your knees and stuff like that, helps out tremendously, especially if you're thinner like I am with skinny knees. But yeah, there's a little pro tip for you. You know, I just looked up yesterday, because crawling around inside of the car, man, you hit your tailbone on like everything in the car. Every hump, every little sharp thing. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've hit these little sharp tabs. And I know people are like, well, cut them off, don't put them in there. But in my car, I actually use those to tie down all of the battery cable lines and everything going from the front of the car all the way to the back of the car with the battery and stuff. So came in really good handy, and it just kind of saved me from having to like drill another hole in the chassis. So I'm keeping them. I kept them. But I catch them all the time, like on my tailbone, or just sit on them all the time. So it sucks. So I thought to myself, I was like, man, I really should design like a welding pillow, like a thin cushion pillow that is fireproof, or, you know, like a welding splatter proof, you know, it's fire retardant and stuff. Somebody already thought about it. They make them. I Googled, they're like 30, 40 bucks. I was like, man, I need to get one of those. So now that I'm pretty much done really climbing around inside of the car, everything starts to like move outside of the car. I'm like, oh great, I don't need one now. But definitely next project, I'm gonna buy one of those pillows, because that would be sick to just lay on a pillow and weld on top of your head. And I may still do it, because I still have to weld the inside of the car. I don't know. Anyway, thought that was pretty cool. Check them out. Very neat, very neat. Anyway, so I think today the plan is to concentrate on the front of the car. So I can get the hood fitted, put the fenders on. I'm gonna grab the bash bar off of my car because I don't have one built for this yet. And that just unbolts with like 8 bolts. And what I'll do is I'll bolt it to this car, and that will fit the front bumper and everything, and that'll tell me the height of the bumper bar. So the bumper bar goes about like that. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it goes about like that, holds the top of the bumper. And instead of having to like really figure everything out again from scratch like I did on my car to kind of save time, make it easier and make it precise, I think I put the bash bar on there. The bumper fits the bash bar like perfectly, so it will hold it up and down and back and forth. And then I can fit it to the fenders and the headlights. And so today, I think I will concentrate on fitting the bumper bar, the headlight mounts, and whatever else is in the front system while I have the bodywork on. So I can do that. And if I have time, I think I'll move in and I'll lower the cage. I'll weld the top, shove it back up, and be done with that. So I'm gonna put you on a time lapse, and then we're gonna start working on the front of this car. So, all right, see ya. All right, what's up, guys? Here we're back. Yeah, that went pretty smooth. I had a little bit of a hiccup with the front end was down just a little bit, and the bumper didn't want to come up and meet the hood correctly. So let me get the hood prop and up in the air. It's gonna be a little difficult while holding this. All right, so what happened is even though my car was a prototype, there's not really a way to measure certain things. So I put the front cradle in there with these beams and stuff like that. Kind of guessed. I guessed where I thought it should be and off my measurements and everything like that. Well, what ended up happening is that the cradle piece ended up being sagged down just a little bit. So when I installed the front bash bar, the whole bash bar was down just a hair. So what I did was I took my Sawzall and I came in here and I cut it off through here and off through here. You can even see the little marks. But yeah, I cut right through everything and I gave it a gap. The reason I did that is because then I put a jack underneath the support beam right in here, right? Because keep in mind, this whole front end is just tacked in place. So I did that in case I needed to move some stuff around, which I ended up needing to. So put a jack underneath there, and I jacked the whole front cross member up, which twisted it up and twisted these bars closer, and that's why that gap. So that's why Sawzall cut that gap in there. So pulling that up, close that gap back, and then I retacked it, and that brought the whole front end up like a ½ an inch. And now it fits. Now it's fitting really good. Still fought me a little bit just because it's fiberglass and this and that, and it's a different car chassis and some certain things, but we got it. We got it in place. So the bumper bar is now very well tacked in place. Got 2-3 tacks on each side. Got the bolts. These are just self-tapping screws. So I got these in place here. That bar's nice and solid. And then we got the over fenders on. So over fender there. Cut the fender out, got the over fender on this side. Did the same thing over on this side. Cut that fender out and installed that over fender. It's not exactly lining up perfect right now. It won't until I get the headlights in and until I, you know, do some fudging and moving around and stuff like that. But I'll make sure that those line up good and then secure them with some plates and stuff like that. And I'll figure all that out later. So the next thing that we need to do is I need to mount the headlights. So I got the headlights standing by. And I'm over here making the brackets for the headlights. So these are the headlight brackets. And basically these are the top brackets. So drill a hole, weld a nut to the back side, and I'll bend this to a 40 degree angle. And that will basically give me my top bracket off the bash bar. So the bracket will come up, over, and then the headlight will bolt to that. For the lower bracket, I went over to my prototype car and I pulled out the measurements for that. So these are all the measurements right here. So there's my little top headlight bracket. I got all the measurements and everything like that, found out the angle. And then this is my lower bar. And I'll show you how to do that. So basically, it's a piece of 3/4 inch bent here. So 5 inches in, it creates this bend. I'm not sure the degree of that. I'll figure that out in a minute. Come over here, and then 1 inch on the end bends over, and I drill a hole and I weld nuts onto it and I install it at the bottom and weld it to the front of the bash bar. So that was a mouthful, I know, but I want to try to get these mounted here in the next few minutes before the day is gone and put that on this episode. So I'm going to put you on another time lapse and let's knock these headlights out within the next hour or two, and then I'll show you, hopefully show you the finished product. So, all right, here we go. All right, guys, that'll do it. Got the whole front end put on the car. Super excited the way it came out. Man, this thing's looking good. Got the wide body rocker bunny kit on it. She's sitting high right now, of course, because there's no motor and doesn't have the coilovers on it yet. But yeah, this came out really, really good. Got the headlights fitted and all the brackets in. Got the bumper fitted. Everything on with that. Yep. Everything's looking really good. It's dark. It's dark in here, so it's hard to see, but yeah, everything's in. Everything's in. Looking really, really good. Oh, man. A lot of work, but yep. I'm happy with today's progress to finish out the week. Not sure whether I'm going to work this weekend or not, but yeah, ended off good this week. We will come back at you with more, and everybody have a good weekend. And with the crazy times going on with the virus and everything like that, I'm staying here working in my private shop as much as possible. Hope you guys have the opportunity to kind of do some of the same things. I just figured with building this car that I would show you guys, put it out there, and help give you some content and kind of show you what I'm doing, and then we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you like fabrication and builds and stuff like that. I have multiple projects that I'll be doing over the years and over the next couple of months. Always playing with something. So Some of my other videos are old projects and new projects, and we'll just keep throwing content out there of stuff that I've done. I love to fabricate, love to build cars, love to drive cars, motorcycles, all that stuff. So that's just figured everybody's been asking me and telling me for years, hey, put it out on YouTube. And finally, just with the time, with the COVID-19 virus and all, I got time. So figure pick up the phone, and I'll switch to a better camera here soon. But pick it up and film what I'm doing and put it out there for you guys to see. So talking fast because I'm tired, ready for the night to be over, and enjoy the weekend. So thank you very much for watching. Hit subscribe if you like fabrication and building and driving and cool stuff. So I'll hit you back next time. Thanks.